Now, a Hutch's weather update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson, brought to you by Robert Gibb and Sons. Now.
All right, everybody. Sorry about that. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. Oh, man. There we go. Okay, so as we head into the midday hour, snow is developing. It is heavy in places. We're going to go over that. A lot of the colors on this kind of confusing, so we'll go ahead and just do a quick, detailed description of what you're seeing here. All of the red counties here, winter storm warning in effect for most of South Dakota, most of Minnesota, most of eastern Montana, and it does extend down to the south as a blizzard warning in pink that you see here for parts of Nebraska, all the way down into parts of Kansas as well. For some blizzard-like conditions there. Now, things are really getting started in Iowa as well. So we have blizzard warnings way to the south of us, and the storm still will be capable of that potential for an area or two seeing some blizzard-like conditions as we head into the weekend. But here's what you need to know. The system is spreading northward now, and there is an adjustment. The heaviest of the snow still looks to be very impactful. The wind still looks to be impactful. The heaviest is looking like it may shift just a little bit to the south, like we've been talking about the last day or so. What does that mean for us? Well, it basically means the same. There's going to be difficult to impossible travel. We're going to get you caught up with the very latest. Thanks to each and every one of you. Dawn, Kathy, Darlene for sharing stars. Bernadine, good to have you on from Holly. And Kara, hello to you as well. All right, here is a look at what we have going on. I'm going to turn off the watches and warnings. By the way, all the browns you see down here, those are wind warnings and advisories taking place out there. The storm system has caused a few warnings to be issued in parts of the central Rockies of Colorado. That's the Denver area, mountains west, and all the way south to the border there. Mainly not in the eastern plains of the Rockies for the Mile High City. Now, here is a closer look. I'm going to turn off all the warnings and watches so we can focus on the radar. Here is what's happening now on the radar. Then we'll analyze your roads. Then I'll get to your forecast and your questions. Don and Frazee, good to have you on board. Say hi to the world's largest turkey. Clarine, good to see you as well. Scott, thanks for your stars. All right, here we go. Here's the system. It's winding its way through. The low pressure center is basically over the central plains now, and it's developing and deepening. And it is bringing moisture from the central plains northward. Notice Kansas has rain. The rain goes all the way into Iowa. And we see that transition to freezing where you see this pink line, Fort Dodge. Now, between on I-35 from Des Moines up into southern Minnesota, at times we've had some thunder and lightning taking place in these areas. So thunder, snow, and thunder showers were the case down in the Sioux Falls area and Point South as we went through the mid-morning hours. Thanks, Vicky, for your stars. I sure appreciate each and every one of you helping support Hutch's cause and helping make Hutch's weather even better by future growth. Now, take a look at this. We do have the heavier batches of snow pushing along the I-29 corridor there in South Dakota where my hand is. I'm going to zoom into that area, as well as Minneapolis and St. Paul. Look at this, Bloomington. There's a pretty good band fixing to move into the Twin Cities now and the I-94 corridor. So I was saying the last couple of days, be where you wanted to be by noon. And in portions of our region, that is absolutely the case. In Fargo, we've got these light snow showers, and I've done my first duty of shoveling that light layer off with just a light shovel. I like doing that, right? It wasn't hard at all. Look what's moving through Watertown. And when you see the road reports here coming up next, you'll get to see how heavy this is actually going on right now. This extends into Ortonville, so west central Minnesota starting to see the impacts as well. Now, there has been a persistent band of snow in and around the Highway 2 corridor with this system. So what happens with these is we get these bands setting up, and our large-scale models cannot see the individual bands that are setting up. It oftentimes will show this huge area of snow and heavy snow. So now that we're seeing the radar light up, we're starting to see where the snow might impact. Now, keep in mind this and put this in your cud and chew on it for just a little while. We're getting some light snow up here along Highway 2, Minot to Grand Forks, and some of these areas are not in the warned area. There's a sharp cutoff to zilch and nada as we get up into the Kitson County, Roseau County areas. These areas are getting laced with some very fluffy, white, powdery snow that will begin to blow and drift. So the road conditions, even in our northern counties, even the Minot area, could be tricky with this storm system as we work our way through. So this is the latest radar. What does it mean for Fargo? We have a band south of us, but see the light blue colors here? Detroit Lakes, Fergus Falls, much the same. The heaviest is not here yet. So Hutch, when does it get bad? Answer, ding, ding, ding. I still don't have my cowbell. Apologize for that, but we're working on it. Lacey, thanks for your stars. What this means is the heaviest of the snow and the wind will happen as the storm enhances as we head into the late evening and overnight hours, and for the better part of Monday as well. We'll walk through that forecast here in a bit, so stick with me. Kyla, good to have you on board. Thanks so very much. Ryan says the snow is like small styrofoam beads. That's what I have in South Moorhead too. I noticed them on top of my trash can lid. It was almost like kind of Dippin' Dot style snow, only fluffier. It wasn't dense. Very good observation. So get out there and sneeze and you'll be able to clear out the driveway. And this stuff is going to blow around, folks. Visibility is going to be junk as we go through the latter part of the day. Road reports. Let's start in North Dakota and South Dakota where we have the heavy snow. Then we'll take a check into southern Minnesota. Look at this, the Iron Range getting a batch of snow as well. Here we go. Let's start with North Dakota. Here's your road report. We have no areas of travel advisories right now, but I want every one of you to be advised that the travel, well, it's slippery in spots, and we're expecting it to continue to deteriorate as the heavier bands move up from the south. Weather Underground is reporting 6 inches of snow for the prediction. Curious about the different amount predicted. The different amounts predicted. That's a wonderful question, Jerry. And the range that you're seeing from the National Weather Service now is a good one. It says 6 to 16. I buy that. I like it. I think it's good because we still don't know where these heavier bands are going to set up. No model has a lock on what is going to happen exactly. There may be one or two that are close, and I'm analyzing those for you, and I'll show you my thoughts on those in a minute. Great questions, y'all. Melanie, thanks for the stars. Michael, good to talk to you. How about Minot, North Dakota? Why not Minot? Let's talk about it all. First, see all the yellow in the southern half? Well, that first batch of snow last night dumped up some snow, and we have some slippery roads. So as we go down to the Lemoore area here, we do have some ice and snow on the road surfaces and the roadside. It is slippery out there, but the main event hasn't started. We have an incident on I-94 near Valley City. I'll read it to you. It's a crash, and the crash has taken place at the west junction of Interstate 94, and you can expect delays and speeds are reduced. So that is taking place off to the east of Valley City. As we look at Ariska, you can see the snow on the road there, and the wind and the real impactful weather is on its way. Now, we do have the radar lighting up north of Grand Forks. Look at the green roads reported by the DOT up there. When we look, this is what we see. The fields are covered. The roads look decent there. So not all of the snow we see up north is likely reaching the ground. Here is the Drayton exit, and that is showing crystal clear conditions and visibility more than a country mile, folks. Heather says we're going to need more snow here in Jamestown. I've got kids hoping for a snow day. Well, let's take a look at that forecast here in a minute. Let's take a look at Jamestown now. Yeah, that don't look like snow day type of snow there, does it, Heather? I hear you. Alana, thanks for joining. Fluffy and blowing and snowing harder in the Perham area. Okay, we'll get to Minnesota. So you can see in North Dakota, we have the snow that's making its way through. I do want to get to Minot because I do have some viewers out in that area. My friend, Hey Tom is on. Hey Tom is on. Check him out. He's a meteorologist with 26 years, and if you're from Minot, you know who Tom Schrader is. He's covering this storm too. You can bet that. Check out the road conditions north of Minot. That snow is reaching the ground, and I can't measure this by my eyeballs, but it's covering the road's side. So that means it's highly probable we're talking over an inch of snow in that area already, with forecasts earlier that were pretty minimal. Let's check up near Botno. Sometimes the radar doesn't show things too well up there, but yeah, we got pretty much zilch going on up in the far north. So the dry air is all the way up there. Now, if you're heading through the capital city, here's Bismarck, here's Mandan. Looky, looky, looky. There's some snow and ice on the roads. Nothing too terrible yet, but it's going to decrease and our conditions will deteriorate. All right, here is a look at the Capitol building in North Dakota. All right, folks, let's talk about this just a little bit. Hi from Warren says, Kiriun, I hope I pronounced your name right. And we have Mary joining us. Thank you so much. Lightly snowing in Mayville. The bottom line is that our conditions are going to deteriorate as we head through. Here is portions of the main event starting as there's more lift down here, more energy, and some heavier bands of snow. Let me show you what this looks like in South Dakota. So here is a look from our neighbors just to the south as we look at the road conditions there. Now, we do see the pink. Solid pink means that the roads are, well, basically covered with ice and quite slippery. And here's a look at Sisseton. Now, the heavier band of snow is not in Sisseton, but look at this nonsense. There's already some pillow drifting going east-west across the interstate there. So even when the plow comes through, the light fluffy snow is blowing. This tractor trailer is making his way on Interstate 29 there through this mess as the system works its way through. Now, when we venture southward, the heavier bands of snow are down in that area of Watertown and Point South. So let's check in on Watertown. Yuck. Blech. I don't want to drive on that. Now, it's not too deep yet, and the real strong winds have not picked up yet. The visibility is low, but it isn't zero there. How about Brookings? Okay, we're looking at similar conditions on I-29 from the North Dakota border all the way to Brookings. As we head into the Ortonville area here, let's take a look at these roads because there's a band moving in there. Ooh. Look at this. This is a little bit heavy and the visibility is a little bit worse as we look into parts of eastern South Dakota. That's a look for that region. Now we do have, and we did have, some pretty serious big flakes falling in and around Sioux Falls. And I believe just to the south of there, I was noticing some lightning strikes on the detection network. Look at this. It's just wet roads there. And your temperatures in this part of the region are going to go up as the storm progresses. Now I'll look at Minnesota roads. Let's take a quick look. Hey, Chad says, same here. I'm at Hackensack. Chad was sharing a measurement of 1 3/4 inches a little earlier, if I remember right. Thank you for sharing your measurement there. Check out what's going on here in the heading toward the Twin Cities. What's going on with the roads in Minnesota? Here you go. Let's go ahead and zoom in. First and foremost, the colors are a little different on map to map. So each state has their own color and way of reporting this. I-94 from Fargo to Minneapolis, you're going to start running into some flaky trouble as you get into that Barnesville area and beyond. So there is some snow on the interstate there. Now, as we get into the border counties in the Red River Valley, here is a peek at Abercrombie. Okay, in that area, this is Kent. The roads are completely covered there on 75. Down near Fergus Falls, I-94, we have a couple of crashes in this area. Oh my, look at this. These are big flakes the size of Hutch Johnson's toenails, and those you don't want to mess with. They'll start accumulating pretty quickly. Hi, Tiffany. Good to have you on. 1 inch reported so far in Comstock. Thank you so very much. Do you see the asterisks? There are these purple dots. Those are areas where we do have some incidents reported. We got vehicles spun out, it says, and a couple of them on I-94 between Dalton and the Evansville area. So keep that in mind. So as we go south and even farther, that's where some heavier bands of snow were showing up. And this is a look at the US 212 corridor through there, and it's starting to cover up pretty good. Now, a couple of items of note. No, this does not look like the worst of it, right? You're looking at these pictures and go, what's the big deal? We've all seen snow before. Heck, we've all seen blizzards before. This system's going to get worse tonight. So we just want to let you know, in places, it is going to deteriorate. Let's show you the high resolution model and show you the progression of the storm as promised. Jennifer, thank you for your stars. Hi. Well, let's see. Cheryl's joining as well. Thanks for joining. Don't eat yellow Dippin' Dots, Ryan says. Truer words have never been spoke. No yellow Dippin' Dots for Hutch. Okay, now let's take a look at this. Here is a forecast model. I'm going to pull up the latest on this. I got to get a different model run here that's going to take me out just a little bit farther in time. So here we go. Still loading up. Okay, so this high resolution model, I've been talking about these for a couple of days, but on high resolution models, we have the ability to have a bit better detail on the exact location of where these models think things are going to start firing. That is because the grid is tighter, it's smaller, and it can see, if you will, more input data from more sources, if you will. So with that said, what we're looking at here is some snow showers that'll be working their way from the south. And as we set this into motion, I'll tell you the timestamp at the top. You subtract 5 from the 17Z. You see where it says 18Z up there? That's Sunday at 18Z. What's 18Z? You take 1800 hours, you subtract 5. I know math is hard on a Sunday. 18 minus 5 is... that's about 13. That's 1 p.m. So here's the 1 p.m. forecast. Notice that heavier band of snow moving into Roberts County, Brown County. So anywhere from, say, Aberdeen through Sisseton, it's going to start getting snowier. We still don't see that band up north now that's been there all morning, but not a lot of that is reaching the ground. So the radar is seeing it up at cloud level, but not all those flakes are making their way down to the ground. Keep that in mind. Here is some very heavy precipitation. National Weather Service office in Chanhassen in the Twin Cities says 1 to 2 inch snowfall rates will not be out of the question. Hutch says as we go into the afternoon, you may hear some thunder snow. Sorry about that. Tongue twister. Southern North Dakota seeing a band of snow, moderate to heavy at times, and the wind starts increasing as we go through the afternoon hours. Here comes the heavy band of snow. You see all this dark blue right there? That is the main event. Notice there's a little bit of a dry slot being picked up through eastern South Dakota, but that will not last the whole event as the low moves straight forward tonight. Now you're looking at 2,400 hours. You subtract 5, you get 19, and you get the picture. It's going to be later this evening, and as we set things in motion, dries up, and look at this model now showing this sharp cutoff in the system. Is it going to be 0 snow in Fargo? No, it doesn't look like it. It's still a multi-day event, but overnight, this is going through the overnight into Monday. Here we go. The low lifts northward, and here comes the heavier snow. So between now and late tonight and overnight, the conditions will deteriorate in eastern North Dakota. The system will be all wrapped up out west. The snowfall totals for you will not add a lot more as we go through the day, but it'll be into the early overnight. Not fun to drive. The winds will really pick up late tonight and into the morning for your Monday, and the snow is on. Jamestown, will it be a snow day? It's going to be hard to tell. We'll leave that up to your school administration, because sometimes you just got to wake up early and see what's on the ground. It will be windy, and whatever snow that's around there could be a blowing, but the heaviest of the snow looks to be south and east. Now, look at that snow band pushing its way up as we head toward the midday hour. So Monday, all day, a chance of snow, and the snow that's falling right now in southern Minnesota right now, deep, heavy snow expected tonight. It's going to get coated with heavy rain, maybe even rumbles of thunder, and there will be a narrow band of some icing moving northward as well. The deal is, though, as temperatures rise, will it be solid ice out there? I don't think ice will be our main concern. It's going to be that deep, sloppy slush kind of snow to drive through. So a very heavy, wet snow here. Up north in the colder, drier air, it's going to be a fluffy, powdery snow. Try forecasting that. It is difficult. Here's Monday. Here's 20Z. You subtract 5, that's 1,500 hours. That's 3 p.m. on Monday. So snow all day Monday. The wind shifts and it becomes northerly. It continues to snow into Monday evening. Heavy. Look at Lakes Country. You guys are going to be in the mix out there in northwest and western parts of Minnesota. Now, the far northwestern corner, not expected to see super lofty snowfall totals, but it'll be that fluffier, flaky snow that will fly around in the winds. So travel could be compromised for you as well heading through the day. Look at this system here. We could see some strong thunder shower activity as we go into the afternoon and evening of Monday in Iowa. And there will be some spin in the atmosphere with this system too, based on the upper level winds being opposite of what's going on here at the surface. Could be interesting, folks. Could be interesting. All right, now let's check this out. Snow, as we head into Monday night, starts exiting off to the east, drying up a little bit, but not all the way. Look at our Minnesota counties. We're talking Beltrami, we're talking Clearwater counties. You guys are going to be seeing some continued snow into your overnight Monday and Tuesday. Look at this redonkulousness. Remember, I said it could last into Wednesday for some. Here it is, parking in eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin. And that means central Minnesota, it is on. You need the moisture, and very well you could get it. So let's take a look at this model's rendition of snowfall, shall we? Who says yes? Thomas says yes, and Thomas shared stars. And for that, I am very grateful to you and everyone else. Bruce, howdy from Vining. Got some snow going on, it sounds like. Shannon says snowing in Otter Tail. All right, let's take a look at the snowfall forecast. This is a high resolution model. We just showed you its track. We'll show you a lower snowfall ratio. In other words, liquid equivalent moisture that the model sees, calculate, do more math, crunch the numbers. It's going to be a heavier, wetter snow. So this ratio means the snow values will be lower than what actually happens in some areas where we have colder temperatures. But that said, you can see this bullseye track. We're almost done out in the western Dakotas, except for the elevated terrain of the Black Hills. And that track that we've been talking about the last couple of days looks to be spot on and still impactful in southeast North Dakota and most of Minnesota, except the northwesternmost quadrant. That's pretty good consistency between this high resolution model and what we've been seeing for the last 2 or 3 days here. But there is a southerly shift to the highest band. So there's uncertainty. And for those of you asking, and I know I had at least one question, why am I seeing 6 inches from my phone? My phone app says 6 inches. The Weather Service says 6 to 16 inches. Why? Because we very well could be very close to that 16-inch range here. Don't go out, go into the country, go east of town and run into a foot or more of snow, okay? That's the idea. We want to make sure that you all are staying safe, and we're going to do our best job of forecasting. And because this snow you see here, a lot of it falls Monday late and into Tuesday, that's 2 days out. Our models are going to change because the atmosphere will certainly have some more surprises for us as we go through. So that's a look at this. Let's look at icing with this system. There is a chance. There is a chance for seeing some ice with this. Now, the freezing rain potential with this system in our region will mainly be in southern Minnesota, and then look at what happens in the Iron Range. Some of the models are talking about, as we go from Sunday night and into Monday, a good 0.2 of an inch of ice. Look at Nebraska. So along that path, really, really close to where we have the warm air and the heavy precipitation where the rain changes over and mixes with snow, we could have a narrow area of freezing rain. Keep that in mind. And in fact, sometimes we can get rain in the upper levels of the cloud that falls down as sleet. Those ice balls that are clear, when those start accumulating, it's just simply no fun to drive on. So let's summarize all of this for you. Chris, good to have you on board. Thank you, Joanne, for the stars. Much appreciated. Jennifer says the sun is going to make it into Hector on Tuesday early afternoon. Conditions in Fargo begin improving. I can't predict that, whether the airline will be landing or not. But what I can say is we'll be on the upside, the improving conditions as we go into late Tuesday in Fargo. But there may be a backlog of planes that need to get in or out, and I can't predict what that's going to look at, so just stay informed. Tammy, thanks so much. Okay, I've prepared a couple of graphics. I've updated some things for you since our last visit. Let's get to the latest on that. And if you have a question or something that you want Hutch to look at, I'll show you some other stuff too at the very end. Now, let's take a gander at what we have going on. Let's look at some snowfall forecasts, shall we? Check this nonsense out. We're going to pop this up. We're going to put Hutch's head on here, and I'll be writing away. I'm sure of it. Let me go over here, okay? Ooh, that's big. How about let's go here? Okay, there. Now I'm a little less in the way. We have snow that's falling now and will continue to fall in western North Dakota. The additional snowfall amount from this European model says another 2 or 3 inches of snow will be possible. We've seen the pictures from out west, and in the western Dakotas, there's a few inches, Mandan and points west of there, up into the oil patch. You get north of Highway 200 and we can shut the snow machine off. However, we did look at Minot, and I believe there's some parts of Minot that have more than this 1.8 inches already because of the snow taking place there. So in and around Minot seems to be that ramp, and it looks like it's a little farther north. Keep that in mind. So when we're looking at forecast models, we're looking at trends. Look at this European model. It's way different. It's farther south. So in this morning's update, I shared with you that there could be a trend that this snow is shifting south based on what the model from the European model is showing. Not what the high-res models are showing, but what this one is showing. What do I feel? I think that we'll wait and see where the radar shows that heavier band moving and where it sets up shop. What makes this forecast difficult is just to our north here, we have dry air coming at us from the northeast, and that's drying the underside of the atmosphere, the lower part of the atmosphere. The clouds are there. They're full of snow and moisture. Will that moisture make its way down to the ground? The dry air does play a role in this. And so we'll keep our eyes on this system and we'll see what the Euro does. But I wanted to show you this because you and I, we've all been watching this European model together throughout the week. We'll see which one does better. This is a pretty late shift in its thinking, so it's something to pay attention to. Here's another one. Remember, we've been looking at this bullseye of the storm track. This is a little higher resolution model. This isn't the global scale one. So this one has a better pin on some of the smaller scale circulations and things that we have going on. Look at the bullseye line we were talking about yesterday. It's in a similar spot. Look at the impacts near Fargo. And they extend north into Grand Forks with the wind. But the amounts don't look too scary, right? 3 to 5 inches on these models. So the Canadian also says maybe the higher impacts will be just a little farther south and east of Fargo. We'll keep that in mind. What I'll say is that in Fargo, we've picked up those Dippin' Dots already. And we had an inch on the ground first thing in the morning. And we got some more Dippin' Dots coming now. And we're going to have this light, fluffy snow falling at first. If on Monday we get any of those bands that are heavy, like we saw the high resolution model I just showed fall in, we're going to well exceed this 4.9 inches, simply based on what we have on the ground already. Keep that in mind. Okay, so there are some things to keep in mind here. I don't think that the 4.9 is the right forecast for Fargo. So what is? The National Weather Service says 6 to 16, and I'm on board with that 100%. Because we're going to be right close to that cutoff line. I said Highway 200 and point south, and really Interstate 94 and point south will really see things ramping up. Until we get up towards Bemidji there, you'll be in the main event as well. So if you're in the Warren County, the potential is there for some heavier snow. Here's a look at the high-res model that I showed you. This is a look at the snowfall potential from that high-res model. Look at what it's seeing. It sees the detail and what can happen in the Black Hills with the elevated terrain. It sees that. So anywhere near the elevated terrain, we're talking Twin Buttes in North Dakota, down into the Black Hills, elevated snowfall amounts there. A little bit of a lull in the central Dakotas with the amounts, and then it picks up in the east. And that's where the low pressure center is going to track at the surface right here. So that impactful track will go right through east central South Dakota and into central Minnesota, meaning there's still the potential for over 16 or maybe even over 18 inches of snow for a few areas. And this is based on the very latest high resolution model data. Light snow being reported in Euclid. Thanks, Carol, for your report. Bethany May, good to have you on board as well. So bottom line is this, and I'm going to pull my face off of here so you can read this. What's going on? Between tonight and Monday, the heavy snow pushes in and the gusts begin to increase to 40 miles per hour. All day Monday, eastern parts of the Dakotas will see heavy snow. The system will be exiting western North Dakota. So if you're in, say, the Bismarck area and points west, the impacts will start decreasing throughout the morning hours on Monday. And it is on here in the valley and in Minnesota. And the wind increases. It will be easterly early in the day, and it will become northerly late in the day into Tuesday. So we have the timing being Monday here in the valley in Minnesota and South Dakota. I added South Dakota there. Tuesday, light to moderate snow in the valley, and then it begins exiting off to the east. But parts of eastern Minnesota will see snow into Wednesday morning. Sunshine in War Road. Sunshine on my shoulders. Yes, it does make a lot of folks happy. Roxanne, thanks. That's the when. Here's the what. Heavy snow. Yep, we'll have some of that. Not all of us. Some of us. Gusty wind, yep, we'll have some of that beginning tonight as we head through the night, 40 plus miles per hour, becoming 45 mile per hour plus in some spots, particularly the eastern Dakotas and the Red River Valley, eastern parts of South Dakota. Get into the trees of Minnesota, it's going to tamper some of that. There will be areas of whiteout. Could there be a blizzard? Yes. Where will the blizzard be? The best chance for blizzard-style conditions will be from southeast North Dakota, all of eastern South Dakota, particularly north of Sioux Falls, and into southern and central Minnesota, but we will see where the heavy band sets up. We're also dealing with the fact that it's going to change over to rain, and when that happens, that could improve the visibility somewhat. And it's not by definition a blizzard when it's raining, right? So there's some things that meteorologically we need to, kind of see how things transpire here. Falling temperatures will cause for some icing up of the roads even after the storm exits. Keep that in mind. And lastly, this storm is brewing. The impacts will be to travel, to delays and cancellations. Not everybody will see these impacts, so please be aware of that. There could be power disruption. It will be possible with the wind and the snow. And if there's icing too, that could exacerbate that. Livestock, obviously, we've been talking about that. If you are a rancher, please take the necessary precautions that you can as the storm is approaching. And snow loads could be significant in areas where we got that heavy wet band of snow making its way in. All right, Dennis, thank you so much. I appreciate the thanks. You all here, check this system out from the national level. So here's our area. Now, when we back out, we see it's impacting Montana with bands of snow all the way into Billings, Montana. We got Denver, Colorado, just seeing rain yet. Showers and thunderstorms in the central plains will be possible. And look what's going on in the northeast. It looks like nothing on the radar there. The winter storm is exiting. Check out this nonsense. We have power outages from the winter storm they had blowing through their neck of the woods. And there is, oh my goodness, there are some serious power outages up there. Let's go ahead and let me do that and put this up. Where you see the county there, there's Maine and there's New Hampshire. In the state of Maine, there were over 200,000 people without power. Okay, so it's mainly along coastal Maine there, and that system really hit hard there. So that's one part of the country. The rest of us, we'll wait and see. But Hutch will be able to track the power. We'll be able to track the road conditions. All of it right here. Stay warm. Stay safe. I'll have an update again a little bit later, and I hope to do one on the old YouTube channel here for the national picture in just a bit. But for now, you all have a great afternoon on this Sunday. Winter storm warnings in effect until Tuesday morning here in Fargo. For some mighty winter